A typically gritty 50 from Paul Collingwood plus more dashing ones from Paul Coughlin and John Hastings saw Durham fight back well on the second day of the LV County Championship match at home to Somerset. The visitors began the second morning on 147 for 4 in reply to their hosts' 189, but only 7 runs had been added when Hastings had Johan Myberg taken behind for 61 in the day's fourth over. The other overnight batsman, Jim Allenby, soon followed as Chris Rushworth found the edge of his bat to give Collingwood a comfortable catch in the slips. Peter Trigo and Lewis Gregory tried to counter, and in the next 7 overs they added 30 runs for the 7th wicket to reduce the deficit to just 1. With both men striking the ball cleanly, Somerset would have fancied their chances of securing a meaningful first innings lead. But both men fell with a total on 188. On 19, Trigo offered Coughlin a catch of his own bowling, stopping his shot. And then Gregory was another to be taken by Collingwood in the slips as he showed off his old goalkeeping skills off the bowling of Hastings, the batsman out for 10. 17 were added for the 9th wicket before Craig Overton drilled a ball from Coughlin to Graham Onions at mid-on. Last man Tim Groenewald, a pretty useful bat for a number 11, hit this massive 6 to take the lead up to 36. But then Onions, who didn't field much on day 1 due to him feeling unwell, grabbed a wicket of his own, and a remarkable one at that. If you count, you could tell the ball was in the air for 7 seconds before it was caught by Hastings, Collingwood later saying that it was the highest hit he'd ever seen. So Somerset were all out for 225, but still led by 32 runs when Keaton Jennings was undone by some low bounce to be bowled by Groenewald for a single. Mark Stoneman and Scott Borthwick brought these scores level and then had their side just ahead when the former was squared up by Groenewald and held in the gully by Overton after making 25. Borthwick had a rare failure in both innings of this match. On 14, he had a delivery from Overton which bounced on him before he fed it off to Gregory. Somerset were cock-a-hoop, having reduced their host to 53 for 3, effectively 17 for 3, and only 12 more runs had been added when Michael Richardson nicked Overton to Allenby in the slips. So the situation was ideal for Collingwood, who would have known that a couple of times already this season against Nottinghamshire and Worcestershire, his side have been behind the 8 ball only to go on to win those games. He got started and added 33 runs for the 5th wicket with Gordon Mutchell, who was out for 17 when Trigo had him bang in front for his first wicket of the innings. Gregory then removed Callum MacLeod in the same way, the Scot bagging a pair in this match. He left with Durham in a big hole on 101 for 6 and leading by only 65, but yet again this year they found someone with a sizable spade to get digging. This time it was Coughlin, who wasted no time at all in putting bat to ball. It was perhaps his innings, after coming in with the ball 33 overs old, which just began to change the course of this day. Collingwood, of course, played a hand. If ever there was a side moulded in their captain's image, then Durham are it. He may now be 39, but he's having an exceptional season with the bat, and this was the 4th time he's made it to a 50 this term, 2 of which he's converted into hundreds. He needed 93 balls for his latest one, and his half-century was reached with his 9th 4. He will have been disappointed to have a nibble at this ball from Overton, which saw him out for 58, but he'd added 73 runs in 14 overs with Coughlin to at least give his side a chance here. Coughlin hadn't finished yet, and he was now joined by Hastings, a man with the ability to produce innings from time to time to change matches. With Somerset not selecting a spinner for this game, batting was surely easier now the ball had softened, and these two added 46 more for the 8th wicket, which now meant that Durham would have something to bowl at whenever Somerset got in. The total read 220 for 8 when Coughlin, who just made a 50, mistimed a shot off Trigo and lobbed a catch to Groenewald at mid-on, the batsman on his way for an excellent 54. With only Rushworth and Onions to come, Somerset would have expected to be batting before the close of play, chasing a target of 200 or even fewer, but Hastings had other ideas. That went all the way for a 6. It looked as if Hastings would have to make the most of every ball, as Rushworth was very nearly dismissed to the first delivery he faced. So another maximum from Hastings took him to his half-century of 47 balls. He'd found the rope on 5 occasions and cleared it twice in a very important counter-attacking innings from the Australian. And he wasn't done yet either. Perhaps the Somerset attack just began to lose the discipline which had served them so well, but that is often the case when a tail-ender starts blasting the ball to all parts, as Hastings was doing here. He was, no doubt, frustrating Somerset by now. As was Rushworth, a man who's improved a lot with the bat this year. He too middled plenty as he and Hastings smashed 72 runs in 9 overs to change the complexion of this game. In Somerset's favour was that Durham have twice chased down totals of 260 plus to win matches at this ground this year. They wouldn't have needed so many had Alex Barrow not missed this very catchable opportunity offered by Rushworth, and it was instead left to Marcus Trescothick to end this stand as he held on in the slips to get shot of Hastings for 79, only 14 shy of his career best. Somerset were 256 runs behind when that wicket fell, but they were left with a target of 279 to win for the second game in 3 after Rushworth had a bit more fun with onions, the former moving up to 43 off 39 balls, adding 22 more for the last wicket with his opening bowling partner. Rushworth was just one more boundary hit away from his best ever contribution with the bat, but his 40th delivery was his last, as he was just bowled by Gregory right at the end of the day. Durham will have been delighted to have got to 314 all out, and that has left Somerset 2 full days to make the 279 runs they now need for victory. Both sides will probably fancy their chances from here, and you wouldn't want to put money on the eventual outcome, that's for sure. The first hour of day 3 will be crucial.